In my video where I talked about 5 things I think Borderlands 4 needs to be a good game, one of my honorable mentions was actually going over Pearl weapons, and the reason why I didn't go too into detail on that was because I had a separate video planned for that, and it was basically about how I feel they should tackle Pearl weapons in Borderlands 4. And I ended up scrapping this entire idea because I saw a comment. Jolt's dude, he's a Borderlands streamer and a Borderlands content creator. If you don't know who he is, I'm very surprised because he's one of the biggest personalities in the community. He's doing a question of the day, and one of his questions was basically how should pearls be presented, and the comment that he selected was absolutely amazing. It was basically along the lines of pearl items, not weapons, but items in general, should be locked behind the toughest enemies in the game, and I absolutely loved this comment. So what I figured I would do is scrap my original idea and just talk about this and kind of expand upon it. And I'm going to kind of touch on the end game for Borderlands 4 and what I hope it is, not to the detail that I went into on my previous video, but more or less just kind of setting the tone for how I think they should address the Pearl items coming back. So there's no confirmation. Obviously, we don't know if Pearl weapons are returning. It was a huge surprise that they weren't in Borderlands 3 because, of course, they were in Borderlands 1 and 2. Not 100% sure on the pre-sequel. I didn't play that game too much. But obviously, they were in 1 and 2. And they were some of the best weapons in 1, to my knowledge. I've seen a lot of different builds, like in-game using that. It was mostly like the revolvers, I think. But in Borderlands 2, they were okay. There were a couple of them that did work on certain builds with certain characters. But to my knowledge, they weren't necessarily anything to write home about. Now, I'm cool with that. I am definitely 100% cool with that. Obviously, you don't want to make every single pearl just absolutely broken, because then it's going to kind of shove the rest of the item types out of the game. But what I really feel like they would do, or what they should do, excuse me, is bring these items back, and like that comment said, lock them behind certain enemies. They should give these items dedicated drops. Now, when I say items, I love the idea of having a gun, a relic or artifact, whatever they're called, a shield, things like that. That would be awesome to see previous items from previous Borderlands games come back in the form of pearl weapons. Now, obviously, we have seen items come back from previous titles, the Hellfire being one of them. Of course, we saw the Unkept Herald make its return in Borderlands 3, and really, I think that would be a awesome idea. So recycling old weapons would be absolutely insane. You got to think about it. They throw a certain item. Let's go with we'll go with the Orphan Maker. A gun I remember from Borderlands 2, a shotgun that was really fun to use. They throw the Orphan Maker on a certain new raid boss or a certain new enemy that you can only really fight it in game, and you basically go farm this dude to get a Orphan Maker. And they can even prefix it. They can go for like the most popular prefixes. They can kind of look back and maybe touch up with some content creators, or look at like builds that were used a lot. I don't know. They just kind of creep into the data just to see what guns were used back then a lot, and kind of go from there. I mean, I would really like to see, could you guys imagine like going and farming for like an antagonist pearl, or like a deputy badge pearl, maybe a light show pearl, kind of things like that. I feel like revisiting those nostalgic weapons and items and such would be a really cool baseline to make pearls exciting. Now, I also want to touch upon the fact, if you're gonna put them behind super strong enemies, as you guys can tell, this is not gonna be another top 5. I'm just throwing ideas out here. There's no format to this video. I'm just yammering. But if they're gonna lock them behind very strong enemies, if they were to go in this direction, they should make these guns feel like they are, harder to get. They should feel and be rewarding. They should feel like they're super strong, and they should be able to fit certain characters, or heck, a couple of them should be able to be used across all the Vault Hunters in the game. Now, I would love for them to like kind of plan and prep, and be like, all right, this Vault Hunter could really use this gun because of this skill, or this shield would be amazing on this specific Vault Hunter, just different things like that. And it really excites me thinking about pearls returning to the game, because it is super exciting to get pearl weapons. It was really hard to get them in Borderlands 2 for a little bit, because I think they were locked behind OP levels. And then, of course, the Fight for Lilith Sanctuary DLC came out, and, you got the level 80, and they would kind of drop a little more frequently. And to me, that was just awesome to see. Like you just randomly are farming like I think it's the porta potty midget. You know, you kill that enemy and then you get a pearl, or you know, just at some point in the game. I think there was a tubby farm also located in that. But it was just all around a good time seeing those drop. And for me, that would just be cool to see that in Borderlands 4 because it's going to bring back that excitement. And so I'm going to set the tone for you guys. Let's say you're hopping on Borderlands 4. You got the group with you. You guys are all mic'd up. And you're going to go farm some raid bosses. And you're wanting to go revisit and reuse an item that you used to love back in one of the old games. Because you guys got to think about it. They got Borderlands 1, 2, 3, and the pre-sequel to pull items from. Or you know that this gun is going to be amazing on the new Siren or whatever they might be bringing into the game. And, you know, you're a Siren main and you're just super excited. Or maybe the antagonist shield, if they bring that back, you know, just kind of throwing ideas out there, is absolutely incredible on this character. To me, that's just cool to see. And also, I'm going to touch upon, obviously, the whole group thing. If they're going to lock these items, I loved how they did Borderlands 3 in game. You know, the mayhem was a little more manageable than I think OP levels and such was. And, you know, yes, you should make the pearl items a little harder to get. I know that might be an unpopular opinion, but that's just my personal, you know, preference there. You know, these super rarity weapons, items, and such, you should make them a little harder to get. But at the same time, you should make it to where people can solo it. You know, obviously, in game is supposed to be a difficult thing. You know, Hemivorous and True Takedown. You know, those are challenging things. But you know, people can solo them, and I feel like if they kind of kept it to that same baseline, like, you know, difficulty, that would be cool. Because it was crazy to me to find out that people still, like, after the Malawan takedown had been out for a long time, still weren't able to beat it, you know. And that just kind of shows you that there's different skill sets among Borderlands players. And, you know, and to me, they should make it a little harder, but at the same time, they should make it manageable and doable. So, you know, that was just kind of like my 2 cents and my idea behind it. You know, is just bring them back in all forms, maybe like recycle some old gear, you know, pick some of those nostalgic items that we loved back in the day. And for me, I think that Pearl should return. I think that that's just something that would be exciting to see. And, you know, if they're going to release like DLCs and such for the game, I'm sure they will. You know, and if they do release like different enemies and, you know, in-game content for that, you know, they could bring in more Pearl items and just kind of keep growing that. And then at that point, when you have a good variety of Pearl items in the game, that's when you can start balancing, making some of them bad, making some of them okay, making some of them super strong, and make those, you know, super strong items, you know, feel like Pearl items, you know. And then we can kind of figure out and go from there. Because really, you know, what I want and what I think a lot of people want, especially the feedback that I got for my top 5 list, you guys absolutely killed it on that. I loved interacting with those comments and just reading what you guys had to say. I think that the entire community wants Borderlands 4 to absolutely slap. We want Borderlands 4 to deliver. We want Borderlands 4 to kind of revitalize the franchise. Yes, we're getting the movie. Yes, you know, we're getting a new game potentially. Yes, there was a random leak. I'm not going to sit here and try to say this is a confirmation. You know, I'm not going to try to say that was like a huge source. I just saw it and I was like, oh, cool. We might be getting a Tiny Tina Wonderlands 2. And if they learn to fix their mistake from that and they make it like a fun end game, but they copy and paste everything else, then damn, that game is going to be good. But, you know, we want Borderlands 4 to revitalize the franchise because we love playing these games. I love hopping on and making new characters. I love making these random ass, you know, builds characters and do these challenges. I enjoy playing with my friends, you know. And to me, I think that, like, if you get like a group of friends, you know, or you just play online with some randoms, you go try to tackle a raid boss or something like that, and you're gunning for these like certain pieces of gear, you know, and they keep the cooperation mode, one of the best things that they've ever introduced in Borderlands. You know, you guys can get excited because maybe this raid boss has more than one pearl, you know, dedicated to it, and, you know, you just kind of get, everyone kind of gets something out of it. I don't know. You guys know that, like, you know that feeling. Your friend gets that drop, they hand it over to you, and you're like, are you sure? And they're like, absolutely, man. You've been farming your ass off for this weapon. Take it, throw it, use it, whatever. So I mean, that's just my 2 cents on it. It's a very straightforward video, and I'm completely ripping off a comment here, but I just love this damn comment so much because it was so perfect, and it really made me go, dude, if they were to lock these items behind super crazy strong enemies, and then they were also able to bring back some of those nostalgic items that we loved using in previous Borderlands games. Hell, they could bring back original Pearl items, and that would be absolutely awesome to see that. I don't know. To me, that's just something that I would love to see. Like, I'm telling you right now, if they throw a Pearl Hellwalker and a Pearl Plaguebearer and a Pearl SMG Sandhawk, I'm farming. Like, I am farming with a smile on my face. And that's why I said the antagonist shield. That's probably my favorite shield in the entirety of Borderlands. And also with the relics, man, you have all the bone relics that you could probably throw in there. The reason why I said the deputy badge is just because that was one of the relics I remember from back in the day. On top of that, maybe the Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge. That would be a crazy pearl. Yeah, I don't know. That joke sucked. But yeah, so you know that's just me kind of throwing my 2 cents in there, just kind of saying like, hey, lock them behind some strong enemies, make them some nostalgic weapons, items, whatever you want to say. And, you know, as DLCs release, make it to where, you know, we get some more items thrown in, some more stuff to go farm for, and make Borderlands 4 absolutely fun. Give us a ton of stuff to do and revitalize this franchise that a lot of people feel are in a difficult spot right now. That's going to do it for me, guys. I hope you did enjoy the video. If you did, please make sure to give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Trying these different kind of Borderlands videos and just kind of seeing the feedback, what you guys think, because I do enjoy making Borderlands content. So yeah, you guys take care. Happy New Year, and I'll catch you in the next video.
Don't forget to like, follow, and obey.